Are you preparing for GMAT and do you feel anxious? You doubt yourself that you won't be able to score 700 plus. That's a story of most of the students. So the students who just come to me for GMAT coaching, they are retakers. They are the people, who have given GMAT once, twice, thrice, and they have reached a level of around maybe 600, 650. And now they want to go to 700 plus, 720 plus. So while working with these students, I've observed that most of these students, of course, there is some gap in the knowledge or in the right approach. But the major problem is that they doubt themselves a lot. Because they have their emotional fluctuation is like that. Some they're super happy, they're super excited, and sometimes they are just doubting themselves. But because they're committed, they always take actions. It's not that they don't take action. They always take action, but the energy behind that action varies. Now the main problem is that such students don't have the right mindset to prepare for GMAT. Now one of the basic right mindset that a student needs to have is that you have to work on limited things, or probably do less things but with the right energy. So maximum these students, they are working with the consultancies. Their normal work days around probably 10 to 12 hours. Despite that, they figure out somehow to study for 3 to 4 hours every day because they are committed, they are driven. Now what happens is they expect a lot from themselves at wrong times. For example, let's say you're working and you're planning to go for GMAT. What happens is maximum of the students, they tell us, okay, I'm going to study for 4 hours each day. Great. But do you actually have that time? Because they say, okay, I'll study for 2 hours or 3 hours in the morning and I'll study for 2 hours at night. But the main problem with this is that in the morning, of course, because your energies are good, you completed your sleep, so you can focus. But at night, when they study, at that time, their accuracy normally falls. Maybe in the morning, they're getting around 70-80% accuracy. At night, their accuracy starts falling to 40-50%. Now, when their accuracy falls at night, they start doubting themselves. Because they say, oh, my accuracy is fluctuating. Sometimes it's 80%, sometimes it's 40%. Why is that? So what happens is, see, at night, your mind is totally exhausted. Okay, your physical energies, your mental energies are all exhausted. At that time, you're asking your mind to do something which is difficult, which is uncertain. At that time, mind will not get involved with what you're doing. You can push it for 1 or 2 days, but if you want that to happen consistently, you will fail. And then what happens is, because at night you just practice questions, your accuracy falls, you doubt yourself. You doubt your capabilities, you doubt your knowledge, you doubt everything. And you forget that in the morning I got 80% accuracy. You forget about your success. So here what you need to observe is that whenever you study, okay, tell yourself that I have to study with the right energy. You should have right mental energies, you should have right physical energies. So for example, if you're working, don't give yourself, okay, I have to study for 4 hours. What if you just study for 2 hours or maybe 1 hour? But you study in the morning, at time when you have high energy, or you can study in the afternoon. For example, I'm not the person who, at high energies in the morning. My best energies are around 10 or 11 a.m. So at 10 or 11 a.m. I can do the difficult things that are uncertain, that require a lot of focus. But if I expect myself, okay, I can focus anytime, whenever I want, and I can deliver the same kind of results, probably that will be difficult. So what you do, you just study for maybe 1 hour or 2 hours in the morning. That's number one. Okay. Second, there are days in between, where you don't feel like studying. Probably, out of 7 days, you are able to study for 5 days. But for 2 days, you're not able to study. So don't judge yourself, because studying for 5 days consistently, probably that is discipline. Okay, it's not important that you have to study every day, because there are days then you don't, your energies are not there, you're not feeling like that. It's okay. Oh, I committed. It's okay, you're committed and you are disciplined, but it doesn't mean that you have to do it every day. Probably 5 days a week is sufficient. So if you get this kind of mindset that, okay, you just study when your physical energies and your mental energies are at peak. Secondly, you're okay if I study for 2 hours. Third, if I miss a day, don't judge yourself, don't judge your commitments. okay, because you have been commitment for 5 days. It's okay if you just loosen for 2 days, it's required. Okay, so if you get this mindset, okay, and secondly, you understand that in GMAT, it's not the number of questions. Every student I work with, they always think, okay, I have to do lots of questions. I just tell them that, rather than doing probably, let's say you take any topic, you take critical reasoning, sentence correction, quant, take any topic, okay. If you take quant, you take, let's say, number system. In number system, you take LCM and HCF. Now, if you just do 10 questions on LCM and HCF rather than doing 50 questions, and you do them with the right approach, with the right energies, and you get all of them right, rather than doing 50 questions, getting 30 wrong, and then looking for the solutions for those 30 questions, you will not improve. But if you do those 10 questions with a lot of energies, because when you have high energies, your focus is there, your accuracy will improve. That will give you the confidence, that will increase your self-esteem. So if you do less with the right energies, you will bound to get higher score. But if you feel, okay, I have to do hundreds of questions and I'll not do those questions myself, and if I don't study for 4 hours, 5 hours every day, I'll not get it, that's a wrong mindset. Okay, so again, coming back to this, whenever you study for GMAT, study when your energies are really high, physical energy and emotional, your mental energies, and probably emotional energy also. Second, work on a less number of questions, but do them yourself. So study for 2 hours every day, probably with the right energy at the right time, probably give you far better results than doing for 4 hours or 5 hours and not able to invest. Try this and see, you will find a tremendous improvement in your confidence and your score. Thank you.